Hello class, this is lesson 2-2 in your textbook, and it's titled How to Solve One-Step Equations. So let's just talk about our goal. In order to solve an equation, I want you to do the inverse operation on both sides of the equal sign, so that in the very end, this is what you get. X equals some number, okay? Whatever it is, x equals 55, x equals negative 19. That's how we're going to end. And so we're just going to do one step every single time just to solve our equation. So here's our first one. Solve x plus 7, which equals 10. So I see that it's being added. So instead I'm going to do the inverse. So the opposite, or the inverse of adding, is subtracting. I'm going to do that on both sides. And I really want you guys to practice showing your work. So I'm going to subtract 7 on both sides. And I'm left with x equals 10 minus 7 is 3. Perfect. Easy enough. So to check my work, I'm just going to rewrite, but I'm going to plug in the 3 where the x was before. And I'm going to rewrite that whole equation, and I'm going to ask myself, when I plug it in, what's 3 plus 7? Oh, well that's 10. And the right side is also 10. So I know for sure that I got this right. So when you're doing all this work, you can know every single time without having a teacher check your work if you got it correct or not, just by plugging your answer back into the equation and seeing if you get the same number on both sides. So let's move on, because I know you guys are good at this. Here's our next one. I want you to solve x minus 5 that's equal to 3. So I see that I'm subtracting. The inverse of subtraction is adding, so I'm going to add 5 to the left, add 5 to the right, keep them in nice straight columns. Those cancel each other out, and I'm just going to rewrite x on the left side, and 3 plus 5 is 8. I'm pretty confident in myself, but we're still going to check our work. I'm going to write down 8 minus 5 and see if that's equal to the right side, which was 3. And 8 minus 5 is 3, and 3 does equal the 3. So I'm good. I got the right answer. I proved it by checking. Let's move on. So we just did adding and subtracting. This next one, I see that it says 4x equals 48. So I need to ask myself, what operation is happening here? Well, when there is a number next to a variable, that means that they are being multiplied. So the opposite, the inverse of multiplication, is division. So I'm going to divide both sides by 4 so that I can get the x alone. Those 4's cancel out because 4 divided by 4 is 1. I don't need that anymore. And 48 divided by 4 is 12. Pretty confident with my answer. Let's go ahead and check it out. 4 times 12. I want to know, does that equal 48? Yep, 4 times 12 is 48. Same on both sides. So these one-step equations are pretty easy to show that you got it correct. So let's try our last one on this page. I have x over 3 equals negative 9. And when it looks like a fraction, that really means division. So the opposite of division is multiplication. So I'm going to write times 3 on both sides. And I put it in parentheses. It just helps me out. And 3 divided by 3 again, those cross out. I'm left with x. So negative 9 times 3 is negative 27. Let's see if I did this right. I'm going to rewrite it by plugging it in. Negative 27 over 3. Does that equal negative 9? Let's see. Negative divided by positive is going to be negative. 27 divided by 3 is 9. Yep. I am good. So I hope that this is pretty easy for you so far. We're just going to do one more variation of a one-step equation. So let me go ahead and show you. This time it says negative 2/7 x equals 4. I'm a little confused because there's a number next to the x, so that means multiplication. But how do you divide a fraction? Well, if you don't remember, we multiply by the reciprocal. And reciprocal means flipping that number upside down. So instead of negative 2/7, I'm going to multiply it by negative 7 halves. And I'm going to do that on both sides. So then, when I cross cancel, the 7's cross each other out, and the negative 2's cross each other out, and on the left side I'm left with x. And on the right side, I can either multiply straight across, or I can see if I can reduce anything, and I can. The 2 and the 4 reduce to 2 and negative 1. So really it's 2 times negative 7, which is negative 14. So I know I did that work a little quick, but let's go ahead and just check our work. I have negative 2/7 times negative 14. And I want to know, does that equal just the number 4? So I'm going to just do it a different way. I'm not going to do any cross-canceling. I'm going to just multiply straight across. So really this is over 1. So negative 2 times negative 4 is 28. On the bottom, 7 times 1 is 7. And 28 divided by 7 is 4. 4 equals 4. I'm good to go. So why don't we just do one more practice one, kind of similar to this, and then we're going to be done for the day. This problem says 9 equals negative 3/4 x. So this time the variable's on the right-hand side, but I'm going to do the same process. If I have a fraction here, and I want to get rid of it, I'm going to multiply by the reciprocal, so negative 4 over 3. And I'm going to do that on the left side also, negative 4/3. So the 3's cross out, the 4's cross out, and I'm just left with an x. And I'm going to do it a little different this time. I'm just going to multiply the numerators and then multiply the denominators. So negative 4 times 9 is negative 36. 3 times 1 is 3. And negative 36 divided by 3 is negative 12. And I don't know about you, but I always like writing my final answer with the variable equaling the number. So I'm just going to flip-flop the way that I write it. So let's go ahead and check our work. Does 9 equal negative 3/4 times negative 12? Okay. So again, you can multiply straight across, or you can try to cross-cancel. I'm going to try to cross-cancel this time. The 4 and the negative 12, if I took 4 out of both, this now becomes negative 3, and this becomes 1. And negative 3 times negative 3 is positive 9. So I'm good. So this is all that we're doing for one-step equations. Let me know if you have any questions in class.